you can use it, though, to get yourself dates, okay? It's about tactics, okay? Okay? I told you that must serious work, right? Okay? Now, here's something I want to touch on very, very briefly, okay? When you set goals in life, okay, your brain, you have the ability, and I'm going to show you how to do this tomorrow. You have the ability to use what's called your neuropsychology to make the goals much more powerful, okay, to make your goals bigger and brighter, to expand on them, okay? When I ask you to set goals, right, everybody, I want you to all raise your hand as high as you can. Everyone, raise your right hand as high as you can. As high as you can. Okay, now raise it a little bit higher. Okay, if I said raise it as high as your hand, and I said raise it, everyone raises it even higher, right? Right? I said the first time raise it as high as you can, but you didn't, right? Because there's a level above what's comfortable, slightly higher and easily doable, but you got to stretch a bit. That's where I want you to set your goals for selling with the straight line, slightly above what you think is great. Not what you think is great, because you can blow that away. I don't want you to set it pie in the sky, because you'll say, I can't achieve it, it's too far out in the distance. So we learn to set goals just above what you think is possible, okay? And you learn to make the goals bigger and brighter using visual technology in your head, auditory, kinesthetic, what you feel, and you're going to blow these goals up. You're going to learn to step inside these goals, okay? Meaning you're going to associate it into your goal, and you can learn to run what's called positive thinking language patterns, okay? This is called self-talk. The first person you have to sell when you go out into the field is who? Bingo, yourself. The first person you're going to sell is you on the system that it works, on the job that you have, whatever sales job you have. If you're in sales, by the way, you know you're in business for yourself, right? Everyone know that. When you're a salesperson, you're in business for yourself. And you've got to treat it like your own business, okay? So you learn to run positive language patterns, okay? And you got to find your why. We're going to do all these three things by the close of business today. Okay, I'm going to show you some patterns to run to empower yourself, to get yourself into a peak state anytime you want. And especially right before you walk in the door and right before you pick up the phone. Okay? And lastly, you have to shed any programming that you have about sales being evil. It'll wipe it out of your brain. Sales is the most empowering profession in the world. It's a noble profession. Nothing happens in the world without sales. Nothing. Bill Gates is the best salesman in the world. He is a master. This guy, you know how he started Microsoft? He sold a company called Altair Computers to buy his program, which he did not have. He did not have the program that ultimately became Microsoft Windows. He didn't have it. He sold to them and said, shit, now we got to go find it, right? Then they sold some local guy who had it, and they bought it from him on the sly, like they didn't pay him. Hey, can we buy it? Something. They bought it from him. They delivered, they got the money and transferred the money. He influenced everybody to listen to him as the expert. He sold himself as the expert and the guy who could help them achieve their goals and get what they want. That's how he started Microsoft. Is he a brain? He's brilliant. Is he a hard worker? Yeah. But if there's one skill that defines Bill Gates, besides vision, it's his ability to persuade. Bill Gates is one of the greatest salesmen on earth. Next, Warren Buffett. Think he's a great salesperson, yes or no? Yes, right? And he says two things. Number one, the single most valuable skill in his life is the ability to persuade. In fact, he was such an awful persuader, and he admits this, that in 1960 or 61, he took a Dale Carnegie course, which back then was the gold standard. Now it's like, you say someone's name 8 times, it doesn't really work anymore, but back in 1960 it did, right? Warren Buffett took a Dale Carnegie course, and it changed his life. If you go into Warren Buffett's office, the only diploma he has on his wall is from a Dale Carnegie course. That's it. He doesn't, and the school's nothing up there. It was a single defining moment, the ability to persuade other people. When Warren Buffett buys a company, he's the master persuader. How about this person? Persuader or not? Sales, yes or no? Okay, the greatest marketer of all time. The whole entire world. You know what a herd is? Like a herd to the back of the room, right? She has the whole world as her herd. Oprah Winfrey says something and people just do it. She has these loads of women all over the world. Like you ever see this woman who, like, for 1 year did everything Oprah said? Okay, I mean, this is influence or not. She's the greatest salesman on earth, Oprah. Is she other things too? Yes, she's humanitarian. She's altruistic. She's brilliant. She works hard. She's a visionary, but she's a persuader. But there's more to it than that. There are other skills required too to really become successful. And one of them, and a big one, is not being scared to fail. Not having fear of failure, and not having fear of looking stupid. We have this awful fear as human beings. We don't want to look like fools. Sometimes you got to look foolish in the name of progress. I'll give you another metaphor about my son, we're really close. I have a daughter too. I'll show you a picture later. She's a great girl. She's 16 years old. She's got a boyfriend. It's a whole 9 yards, okay? My son's 14. He's fabulous. And we're having this conversation about when he plays in sports or when he does something about, do you go full out or do you not? And I see sometimes in him that when he's out on the field or doing something, he doesn't play full out and he'll have an excuse. Like my leg hurts or my arm hurts or something happened, the coach was unfair, whatever, the referee was unfair. And what happens with people is we tend to go out into the world and we look for those sort of excuses about why things aren't the way we want them. And when you do that, you lose all your power in life. When you start focusing on the external, on the excuses, you lose your power. Here's the way people really think. I will tell you, I can go out onto stage and bomb. You go out there and you just bomb, right? And people will respect you for going out there and trying your hardest. It's not how you actually perform that earns you the respect of your peers. It's the fact that you went out and actually did it. That's the difference. So if you're out there right now and you're a new salesperson or you're struggling as a salesperson, there's no embarrassment in the struggle. There's just not. The embarrassment is in quitting. The embarrassment is in not trying your hardest. And I was trying to explain the distinction to my son because I know inside he feels like, everyone's a crowd. He's a great player. So he thinks that maybe he didn't live up to our expectations, and in some way that makes him not feel good inside. And I'm explaining, Carter, this is the hardest thing to learn in life, but you have to remember that all people care about is how much heart you have when you go about doing something. So as a salesperson, salesman, saleswoman, it's about your heart. Are you going at it with everything, from here up internally, or are you just going through the motions and blaming your boss, blaming the lead source? You can always blame the lead source, right? You can blame the economy. There's a million reasons why you're not selling as much as you could. Things aren't going the way you want them. They're all excuses. And I call it's your story. And we have that story. It's like a circuit breaker for fear. We come up with a story of why things aren't the way we want them, and we hold on to that story, and it stops us from moving forward. In truth, here's what it is. The only thing that stops you from getting what you want in life is the bullshit story you tell yourself of why you can't have it. You get that? What stops you back is the story, because the story stops you from getting honest. And if you can't get honest with yourself, there's no way you can go. Imagine like this, success in sales and life, it's like a roadmap, right? You know where you want to go, and you have this perfect strategy, the straight line to get there. It's a perfect strategy. It's going to get you there every single time. But if you don't know your starting point, if you're not getting honest with where you actually are, it doesn't matter how powerful the strategy is, and it doesn't matter how powerful your goal is. I'm going to ask you to set a goal today, right? A 60-day goal. And let's say you really set this goal, and I'll show you how to do it in a brilliant way. So it's visceral. So it makes you really feel it. You see it, you sense it, you smell the goal. That's step one. I'm going to teach you the straight line, which is your strategy to get to your goal. But if you're not honest with where you are right now, your starting point, the map is worthless. There's three things that you need to know: where you are, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. Those are the three things you must have to take advantage of any opportunity. I'm going to give you the strategy. I'm going to ask you to tell me exactly where you want to go for yourself. You got to get honest. Don't blame the boss. Don't blame the leads. Don't blame your job. Don't blame the industry you're in. Just get honest. If you don't like your industry, find another one. Selling. You can sell anything. You can sell one product, you can sell anything, okay? So that's the bottom. Oprah Winfrey, another killer, right? Salesperson. Next. Two types of people, okay? And this is great for salespeople, okay? Those who get everything they want in life. Those people are influencers. They get a vision in their mind, they step into that vision, and they go for it. And they get what they want in life. As simple as that. That group is 5% of the world. And those are rich people. Very simply, successful people. The people that get what they want in life. They live life empowered. Then you have the other 95% who get nothing. They are creatures of circumstances. You know what a creature of circumstances? It's someone that goes through life thinking that life happens to them. That's a creature of... You're not creatures of circumstance. Man is a creator of circumstance. You make the world your way. Here's what you do. You see things as they are in the world. Not worse than they are, which is what a lot of people do. They say, oh my God, it's so terrible. The plight is so awful. I could never possibly do anything. So they don't take action. They see things worse than they are. And you get paralyzed with fear. Think it's too hard. There's no way out. So see things as they are, not worse than they are. And then see them better than they are. And you make them that way. And that's your goal, your vision for the future. So welcome to The Straight Line. Glad to have you on board and on the path to wealth and success and to be a master of persuasion and influence. I will tell you this, maybe you're still a little bit skeptical, and I get that. You know, when we embrace something new for the first time, we have a tendency, that voice in the back of our heads, to say it won't work. Maybe it works for everybody else, but not us. And I get that. And what that really is, it's the fact that at this level of learning, you've just become unconsciously confident, where now you know there's a lot of stuff that you need to know. Before, you were unconsciously incompetent. You didn't know what you needed to know. So we're at that second level now, and it's a bit scary sometimes. And I think I've used the metaphor in the past of what a baby does when it learns to walk. And, you know, of course, the baby doesn't start to walk on the first couple of tries. It probably takes him 50, 100, or 200 tries. And even when he does walk, he's doing the old Frankenstein walk. But the baby doesn't care. The baby knows it's not supposed to look perfect the first time. But, of course, soon enough, the baby's running, and it looks perfect. Somewhere along the way, most of us lost that, and we think we're supposed to be perfect at things the first time. That's not true. You can make mistakes, and people will respect you more afterwards because you overcame those early challenges and embraced something that helped you really soar to a new level of wealth and success. So here is something very important I want to share with you right now, and that's the ability now to leverage what you just learned and bring it out into the real world. So I want you to take 2 actions right now in the real world, based on what you just learned. Not 100 actions, not 50, just 2. Something that you saw that made sense to you specifically, I want you to act on it right now. Or tomorrow, if it's nighttime and you go out into the field, whatever you're doing, I want you to learn to take these skills that you've just heard and you visualized it, but take them now into the real world. So you've done something very important. You don't know it, but here's what it is. Not only did you commit to taking action by opening up this box and putting the DVD in the player, but you've actually taken action by watching the whole thing, going through the workbook. That's huge. So just that alone right now puts you at a much higher level than most people, because most people never even take any action. They talk about taking action, they'll write down things about taking action, but they don't ever take action. So I want you to now parlay what you just did and take 2 actions in the real world, whatever they are. And I want you to, don't care how you look. If you know you're a little bit lumbering over them, it's perfectly understandable. Pretty soon, it'll be elegant. You'll do it second nature. And the second thing I want you to do is I want you to write down what your whys are in life. Why is this important to you? Why do you want to learn to master the art of persuasion and influence? What's it going to give you? Not just money. Let me tell you something. Money,
You're going to see once you master the straight line, money will roll in avalanches of abundance. That's how it is. And just so you know, I've done this with, like I said, 12,000 people over the years. They all became million-dollar producers and went on to become very wealthy people in the real world, a variety of businesses.